Haven't we learned anything? That is not how an apology works. It's still not a little mistake. He was always such a nice guy. Ashton Kutcher has done some pretty stupid things in his career. It's even like a popularity roller coaster.
Yes! 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 No! No! No!
With Demi Moore, he proved how wholesome patchwork families can be.
Yes!
Until he cheated.
No!
He was one of the first celebrities to know how to use Twitter, and he became the most followed user.
Yes!
Then he criticized the removal of a football head coach without knowing that he was fired because he was a pedophile.
No!
Ashton immediately backpedaled with multiple apologies, including the hashtag admit when you make mistakes. Keep that one in mind. Then he founded a successful anti-sex trafficking group,
yes!
and even paused his career to do so. But now he stepped back from that group because he might just have dug his deepest hole ever.
Balls!
In case you live under a rock, this is what happened. Ashton Kutcher and his wife Mila started out with That 70s Show, which also starred Danny Masterson. And they not only have been friends on screen, but also in real life. And now Danny Masterson has of course been sentenced to 30 years in prison because of 2 rape convictions. But after that, news broke that Ashton and Mila have been among several people to write letters of support to the judge before the sentencing. And I'm not from the US, so I don't really get why this is even a thing. But anyway, unfortunately for them, the letters have become public and people are pissed, including me, because what they are writing is mind-blowing. And not in a good way. Ashton calls Danny Masterson a role model. I attribute not falling into the typical Hollywood life of drugs directly to Danny. Side note, Danny Masterson drugged his victims. But isn't it nice that he kept Ashton from this harm? Because that's what friends are for.
Thank you for being a friend.
Ashton also writes, he has always treated people with decency, equality and generosity, except of course his victims. Mila writes in her letter, his caring nature and ability to offer guidance have been instrumental in my growth, both personally and professionally. And I'm sorry, but what 20-something-year-old is like that? I mean, even Jesus was in his mid-30s when he became the Messiah. But back to the topic. Basically, what they are saying is that Danny Masterson is a nice guy, just because he has never done anything to them. And that is the damn point.
Everyone says he's a really nice guy.
Good point.
That's exactly the problem. Because he's so nice, people don't want to think he's capable of awful things, so they let him off the hook.
Even Ted Bundy has been a nice guy to some people, mainly those he didn't kill and rape. He even prevented some people from dying when he worked at a suicide hotline, and apparently he was even good at that job. And hell, look at Bill Cosby and how nobody ever thought he could be anything else than America's dad. Haven't we learned anything from that? Apparently not. And that is why thousands of people are pissed. And it led Ashton and Mila to their next stupid decision. They made an apology video. Or at least they tried.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims.
They were intended for the judge to read. And not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. And we're sorry if that has taken place.
And there it is. If. That is not how an apology works. It's like you're saying, I'm sorry if you feel that way, or I'm sorry if I offended someone. No, that's not an apology. Just say, I'm sorry. Period. No if. Take responsibility. Hashtag admit when you make mistakes. It's not like they're the only ones not doing that. Recently, Iggy Azalea also wrote a letter of support to a judge that was published. She defended her good friend who shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot, apparently because he was pissed that she beat him in a rap battle. And Iggy not only defended this dipshit, she also did it in the most embarrassing way. She started off with stating her accomplishments, writing that she has been a successful musician for the last decade and that she has broken records previously held by the Beatles. And then she compared herself to the judge, writing, like yourself, I'm great at what I do, and I'm well respected by my peers.
Are you stupid or something?
As if that wouldn't be enough, she also wrote about her friend who shot at someone. I deeply appreciate the person he is and have never witnessed him lose his temper or raise his voice at a woman. He's always been incredibly respectful of me, and I refuse to believe that he would do anything in malice, especially to a woman. Meaning,
I'm a nice guy.
Are you?
he was convicted anyway, but when the backlash came for Iggy, she didn't apologize, but was instead confused why this letter was publicly discussed, because she was told that it was only meant for the judge, and she never intended to publicly comment. I wonder why. But speaking of publicly commenting, Nicki Minaj did just that, excusing criminals. Twice. Her brother was convicted of repeatedly raping an 11-year-old. Ahead of the arrest, Nicki posted a picture of them on Instagram and wrote, "I love you more than you'll ever comprehend." Her husband is also a splendid specimen. He was in prison for manslaughter and attempted rape.
But I didn't know that in our society, you have to be plagued by your past. I didn't know that people can't turn over a new leaf.
Yes, Nicki's husband did his time, but trying to minimize these crimes and trying to keep them in the past isn't good. I think Christina Ricci found the right words when she recently wrote on Instagram, "Sometimes people we have loved and admired do horrible things. They might not do these things to us, and we only know who they were to us. But that doesn't mean they didn't do the horrible things. And to discredit the abuse is a crime. People we know as awesome guys can be predators and abusers. It's tough to accept, but we have to. If we say we support victims, then we must be able to take this stance." Giving Ashton and Mila the benefit of the doubt and assuming they did it only with the best intentions, it's still not a little mistake. It's the very reason why multiple survivors don't come forward, because they think no one will believe them. And it's honestly sad that all this fuss about Ashton and Mila almost makes Danny's crimes forgotten and making the survivors relive their trauma. And it also just makes me really mad, because I always liked Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, because they always seemed so nice.